Good afternoon, everybody. It's Tess Crawley here, clinical and forensic psychologist and director of Dr. Tess Crawley and Associates. I am coming to you live yet again on another freezing spring day in Hobart. Can you believe today at about 9 o'clock this morning I was on my way into town for an appointment and saw that Mount Wellington, our fabulous mountain that sits behind Hobart, was absolutely covered in snow. It was very, very pretty. I will reassure you though that if you're planning on travelling to Hobart this weekend and fearful of the cold, that the snow has since melted, but it's still rather cold. Now, I am looking for my post on this current post on my page. There we go. So I can share it into the Stigma Rebellion. Yesterday we ended up having a really great chat in our on the live feed yesterday. We were talking about online psychological services now attracting Medicare rebates for rural and remote members of the community, which is a very exciting topic because these rebates only became available on the 1st of November. So it's a brand new thing, and we're very, very excited to be able to provide a broader range of services to our rural communities. Of course, we have already been providing services to rural Tasmania for a while under a contract that we have with Primary Health Tasmania, but this Medicare item number opens it up for everyone anywhere in rural and remote Australia to be able to access psychological services provided by psychologists, mental health accredited social workers and mental health occupational therapists who are, as long as they're all got Medicare provider numbers, of course, which is a great thing. So now bear with me 2 more seconds while I quickly get this into my rural page. Now, I wanted to talk today. I had an interesting experience this morning that got me thinking about things that lurk below the surface. So I went to the GP this morning. I've had a funny thing going on with my neck and I just wanted to get it checked out. I'm feeling, fit as a fiddle, as I always am, but thought this is annoying, this thing with my neck. So I got him to have a look, and lo and behold, he took my temperature. And I had a temperature of 38.8 degrees. Now, all things being equal, I should be sick as a dog with a temperature of 38.8 degrees, but I'm actually fine. But it got me thinking about interesting things that lurk below the surface, that there is no visible sign of what's going on. And it got me thinking about an analogy that I often use with clients of mine. And I use this analogy for 2 reasons. There are 2 really, really good reasons why I use this one. Now, just quickly checking whether I need to pop this into our other group. I'll put it into the Rural Mental Health Professionals Australia group because it might be a useful resource for them. Okay, you have my attention. So sometimes we look at other people and we think, gee, why are they always so happy? Why have they always got their act together? Why can't I be more like them? And when clients talk to me like that, I have a number of examples where clients have talked to me about situations where they're, and it's not even about jealousy, it's more about feeling a sense of failure, that you don't measure up to the success or the even just the satisfactory lifestyle that other people seem to have. And I say to people, have you heard the story of the duck on the millpond? And they usually will say no, unless I've already told them the story. So the duck on the millpond is gliding along the surface of the pond, not the mill, the pond, surface of the pond, easy as you like, just gliding along, not a care in the world. But what we forget is that below the surface, its little feet are paddling like crazy. Paddle, 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 to keep itself afloat and to keep itself going where it's steering itself towards. So when you're feeling that your life is not meeting the expectations that you have based on other people that you see around you, just remember that you're not seeing everything that's going on below the surface in that person's life. For me, sometimes I wish I had a more organised house. That's my thing. You know, I wish I had a tidier house. I wish I had nothing on my surfaces. I wish I had no clutter. And when I go to visit people and they've got no clutter and they've got shiny surfaces and things like that, I go, oh, see, why am I not more like that? But I don't know what else is going on in that person's life, that they might be wishing they were more like me in a different area of their life. So I think it's really important that when we negatively compare ourselves to other people, that we don't know all the other things that are going on below the surface for them, and that maybe it's just not a fair comparison. And I would bet in almost every case that you will find, if you knew all the circumstances of somebody's life, which of course you can't know, but if you did, you would find there'd be something about that person's life that you're grateful you don't have to deal with. Okay, so think about that. The second reason, the second time, or the second occasion where I would use that analogy is when we're being intolerant of others. So think about you're at the supermarket and there's a screaming toddler, or you're on a plane. Here's a good one. You're on a plane and there's a screaming toddler and you're thinking, you know, why me? And you're sitting there huffily and you're thinking, you know, why can't they control that child? Or it might be that you're in a queue and somebody's growling at a child and using language that you might not use yourself. I'm not talking about swearing, but, you know, being a bit intolerant of that child's behaviour. We don't know what kind of a day that parent might have had, you know, and sometimes it's easy for us to judge others, and sometimes it's easy for us to be intolerant of others without really giving due care and thought and compassion to what else might be going on in that person's life. So sometimes I'll use that duck on the millpond analogy to just remind gently that, you know, sometimes we need to take a step back from our own reactions, have a think what else might be going on for that person. I know that my mother-in-law used to say many things that I fondly reflect on, but one of the things that I often remember her saying was, "Oh dear, they must be having a terrible day, the poor love." So, you know, just thinking about someone's behaving in a way that you don't like, maybe that's a symptom of them having had a really bad day that day, and everything's just gotten too much for them, and you've just seen the example of the poor hitting the fan, as someone I know would say. So the duck on the millpond is a useful analogy. I would really encourage you to remember that when you're negatively comparing yourself to other people, because it isn't fair to judge yourself negatively when compared against others, because we just don't know what else is going on in that person's life. And on those days when you're feeling a little bit fed up with other people and you're feeling like you're a bit intolerant of other people, take a step back, take a calming breath, and just remind yourself, hi Janet, thanks for joining. Just remind yourself, maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe they're the duck on the millpond, or maybe you're the duck on the millpond today. Short video today. It's Friday. We're having a little celebratory after work drink this evening in the Hobart office. We've got a few things to celebrate. Our dear Cleo on our reception desk in Hobart has finished her exams for the year. She's a third year psychology student, and we're all cheering her on and hoping she's accepted into the honours program for this year. If you're on the academic side of things in Hobart, just let that be a little hint that I'd really love Cleo to get into honours. Thank you very much. And of course, we're also celebrating some new recruits to our fabulous team. So we have Pippa Cushing has joined us in Hobart, already started. She's had her first day, and she's a new graduate. She's got lots of experience. She runs a yoga school on the side. She's done lots of work with veterans, and looking at the benefit, her research that she did in her master's program was looking at the benefits of yoga, a yoga program with for sufferers of PTSD. So she's got some really interesting experience. The great news for you guys is that Pippa, being brand new, does not have a wait list. So as things churn up towards Christmas rush, if you're thinking about perhaps seeing someone in Hobart for some psychological assistance, Pippa might be just the right person for you. But do ring our office and have a chat with the staff on admin and see whether or not you might like to have a chat to Pippa. We've also got Lydia, who's going to start with us a bit later on in the year, and I'll tell you more about her when it's closer to the time when she starts. But we're very excited to have her coming on board for our Launceston team. So there'll be a new face in Launceston for all of you to get to know as well. And of course, the very exciting news is that I have filled my principal psychologist role with the lovely Kath from our Launceston team, who's going to be my, I told my practice manager Anita she's my right arm and Kath's going to be my left arm, and we'll be a bit of a power team as we develop the practice further into the future. So lots of exciting things happening in the practice at the moment. And of course, if you think we can help you in any way, we look forward to having a chat to you to see what we can do. That's it for me for tonight. Have a fantastic Friday, whatever you're doing, and I wish you the very best for the weekend ahead. And I, of course, will talk to you again tomorrow. Take care for tonight. Bye-bye.